Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. This is part 2 of our flight from Los Angeles to London. I am DigiDriver and we are in the Kuro 788. This is a 787-800. We've been flying as Speedbird 197 Heavy and we are en route flying from Los Angeles International Airport to London Heathrow. We have been flying now for how long? What is our total elapsed time? Let me zoom in. We have been flying for 8 hours and 24 minutes. And I suspect we have something in the vicinity of another 2 hours to go. So let me check the map. Right now we are coming up on just a few waypoints to go before we get to Glasgow, and then we're going to be flying the arrival into 27 right at London Heathrow. So let me check something before we get there. Let's see if we can't get weather information for EGLL. We'll punch it in. Okay. Right now, winds are out of the north at 5. So let's see. We're going to kind of split the difference here, and we may be going up against AI traffic, but because of the fact that we are not going to be dealing with, say, the VATSIM or any kind of ATC regulation, other than, whatever we want to do to abide, I don't have to worry about stuff like that. It is dark out, so I'm not sure if I'm going to accelerate time, or excuse me, advance time for a sunrise arrival. But if it takes us another 2.5 hours to arrive, then there's a slim chance that we might see sunlight, or at least morning in some small measure. But I'm not anticipating that right now. At any rate, we have been flying for a while, and we are literally on the, let's see, the final 10th or close to 10th of the flight. I wasn't flying the default 787-10, so I wasn't able to do things like importing a flight plan directly from SimBrief, which I'm not 100% sure you can do in the default plan, but you'd probably stand a better chance of being able to create a genuine oceanic crossing with that. I think there's ways to get around that with the older versions of the Guru mod, but again, like I said before, it's not something that I am overly focused on or worried about. I'm looking forward to arriving at Heathrow and maybe advancing time to take a look at some of the terminals. We didn't actually take a look at any of the terminals, or did we? No, I know I looked around a little bit before I started the stream, but I don't think we looked at the terminals at LAX. We just kind of took off and started on our merry way. I streamed earlier today for about, I want to say 2 hours, maybe 2.5, before I stopped, and then I, did some other stuff around the house, looked after Mrs. Digi a little, and I think there's a chance that I'm going to be doing another stream this week, but I don't think I'm going to be doing as many streams as I was planning on, or if I am going to do more streams, they're not going to be like this. So I'm trying to do a few things. One of the biggest things that I'm trying to figure out right now is whether or not I'll be able to go to Flight Sim Expo this year. Mrs. Digi and I want to go, but funds are tight. So if you feel so moved, feel free to take advantage by clicking on one of the links which pops up for donation. Feel free to share, feel free to subscribe if that's what you like to do. And I thank you in advance. It is never required, always appreciated. It will be great to get to go to Expo this year in Vegas and shake hands with a lot of people that are out there that stream, that are friends. But you know, I'd like to go, but I'm not going to push it too much. I'm also trying not to mess around with the displays or the data too much on screen because I would prefer to arrive in Heathrow successfully and not change too many options. But like I said at the beginning of the stream, if something happens which prevents us from getting to Heathrow, yes, I'll be a little bit bummed that I wasn't able to land the plane there, but at the same time, I'm not going to freak out about it. Like, we took off, we flew most of the flight, and honestly, I got a chance to catch up with people IRL, and I ate some ate some very yummy food today. And if it turns out that for some reason the flight can't finish, then I'll move on to other stuff. What will probably happen the rest of this week is that I will put my focus more on things like building scenery or creating some other opportunities, things of that nature. So we'll see what happens. But welcome aboard. Happy to have you. If you're new here, I am a scenery developer for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'd like to also create scenery this year for X-Plane as well. So I'm going to take a look and see what's up, see if there are ways that I can actually make my mark there. But if it can't happen, it can't happen. I've been debating off and on about going pro and becoming a scenery developer full time. It's certainly not going to be an easy road, but I mean, if it was the only option that I had, I'd certainly try to figure out a way to make it work, kind of like what I do IRL with my software development job. So if it's not impossible, then it's possible. And if it's possible, then it's doable. And if it's doable, then it's most likely worth the effort. Now, not gonna lie, there was also some things that I've been looking into, which are um, which are pretty fun, which is my growing affinity for retro gaming, and I have friends to thank for that, like Coffee Cup Arcade, and more than a few other people that I've come across. I think the one channel is called 90s Craig, and 90s Craig does retro gaming and talks a lot about like late 80s 90s culture, which is kind of cool. And like I said, more than a few others past that as well. One of the folks that really kind of got me curious about retro gaming again was Arcus, and also Kaon, one of the friends of the channel and also a fellow gamer. I haven't actually checked in on Kaon's streams in a while because I think I've been busy trying to make a lot of stuff happen, but at the same time, I'm I'm trying to, I think, figure out a good balance of doing the things and trying to be more industrious as a scenery developer and creating new opportunities for myself, but also, balancing time with people that I love, that I care about, my family, my pets, my extended family, my friends. And I feel like the past several months have been a very good lesson to me about what happens, when you make priorities, or what happens when you start to look at things and you're like, well, I'm not sure that's actually what's supposed to happen. So there you go. But I'm starting to see orangey blobs ahead of me, which makes me think one thing. I'm going to be going feet dry into the UK momentarily. We're kind of over the islands up on top, and I would probably say we're like 400 nautical miles northwest of Gatwick, maybe 350. And once we pass Gatwick, I believe what's going to happen is we're going to be right up against the Nugra One Hotel arrival into Heathrow. The last time I checked the weather, the winds were coming in from the north, so we're going to have crosswinds. I don't think they're going to be very strong, but I also don't think that's going to affect my choice of runway, which was 27 right. At least it shouldn't. I'm also not on that same frequency, so I'm not going to worry about it much at all. If it becomes a problem, if the winds change or if we have a significant issue which prevents me from landing on those runways, then we'll reassess. But I'm not too worried about the concern right now. Actually, I'm not worried at all. I just want to get to London safely, and I want to, have a great landing to wrap up what is shaping up to be, I think, a 10-hour flight for today. Probably. Block time for the flight was supposed to be basically 9 hours and 55 minutes, so somewhere in the vicinity of 10 hours and 15 to 10 hours and 20 minutes should be normal. A bit tardy, but nominal in terms of flight time and performance. I put the plane up to 0.87 once we got into cruise, so I don't know if VNAV would have kept me at that speed or if it would have gone down to 0.84, but I know that's what I chose. And so far, we're down to 30,500 gallons of fuel on each wing, and center's been drained. So I think what happens with the wing fuel is that center automatically got drained of its remaining fuel, even though I had the center fuel pump switched off. So that's kind of interesting and cool at the same time, but doing fine for now. Welcome aboard, everybody, and I hope that you're having a good evening and a good Tuesday. It is absolutely crazy to think that already another day has gone by. Yesterday, Mrs. Digi was, I think, settling in after going in for outpatient surgery. I am pleased to report that she is snoozing peacefully and that after the flight, I'm probably going to be, stopping, shutting down for a while or for the night to make sure she's taken care of, make sure the pets are taken care of, and that we kind of get set for tomorrow. It is absolutely nuts. Tomorrow's going to be Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, boom, and then I start transitioning back into the normal flows of work and other etceteras. But that's how it works out, isn't it? Your vacation, even if it's a staycation, even if it's something that you're doing for the sake of, helping somebody else, if it's a generally good break and you don't have to do much or anything involving work, then what winds up happening is that you you have a fast week because it goes against what you normally do. So I can see that. I can see that. Like, this whole thing of just like you being like, oh well, like I know I'm gonna be doing stuff for the people, but yeah, in general, you're just gonna be what's the phrase I'm looking for? The time is gonna go by quickly anyway. I guess that's the phrase. thought I was able to reduce the brightness on those displays more. I mean, I guess not, but I can still see stuff, and that's okay. Okay, we are no longer that far out from the airport. We've got roughly 1 hour of flight time left, give or take the, deceleration and preparation for arrival. And in literally less than 240 nautical miles, we're actually going to begin our descent into Heathrow, which is kind of crazy and fun. This will actually mark my third oceanic crossing in roughly a year. I flew westbound unofficially across the pond in a Salty Mod 747 from France to the US to Philadelphia. And then eastbound, I flew from Newfoundland to, yes, from Newfoundland to Heathrow in an Airbus A310. So this is the first time I'm doing a flight in the 788, and Lord willing, we will arrive safely and expediently. We are cooking right now, going Mach 0.87. Ground speed is still sub 500, but I am facing 14 knot cross headwind. So if there was no headwind at all, we would be pretty close to 500, if not over it. And that's about it. Hope everyone is doing very well this evening. Now, since I've got some time, let me go ahead and start looking at the arrival for Heathrow. Let's take a look at the Nugra 1 Hotel RNAV. Once we get into the arrival, there's going to be what I believe is actually it doesn't even say it. Yeah, there's a roughly 58 nautical mile leg between the first waypoint and Tobit, where we need to be at flight level 200, which means I need to lose 21,000 feet by the time I get there. And I'm not sure how efficiently I'll be able to do it. It would mean that I would theoretically need to begin my descent roughly 70 nautical miles out from that waypoint, which is roughly about 13 additional nautical miles before I get to the Nugra waypoint at the start of the arrival. So I like to think of that as best speed descent. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going to be descending probably at about 2,500 feet per minute to accommodate arriving at or before Tobit at expected altitude. Then there's Sopit or Sopit at flight level 150. And when we get to Westcott, we'll need to be restricted to 220 knots from here on out, I think, to the rest of the arrival. And we'll be descending to flight level 70. And I don't know what the weather is for. Okay, Heathrow's weather was 13 minutes ago, QNH 1019er. So let's do QNH to 9HG. And 1019 is going to be 30.09er. I mean, there should be a toggle on the flight deck that will let me convert to those units. So I'll go ahead and do that now. And then I'll go for 1019er when we get a descent, or again, just before that. The crazy thing is that the computer says top of descent's actually going to begin significantly past the Nugra waypoint. So I'm not sure what's better. I'm not sure if it's better to actually let the computer decide what the descent is going to be or if we're going to do it manually ourselves. Considering I'm not actually flying on VATSIM and I want to be as close to those flight levels as I can be, most likely to be able to, perform really well, then that's probably what I'm going to do. It makes the most sense to me. So, yeah, this is a nice to have, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be descending based on that restriction. I should be way, way ahead of that so that I don't have to worry about it. What I don't understand is how that doesn't want to stay put. I'm not sure if there's something that I'm failing to toggle successfully, but I'm not going to worry about that. If we land properly, I should be able to just hit a button or just toggle the speed brakes. Maybe the slash key works. If not, then we'll just go full reverse, max auto brake, and that should probably work just as well. So, fair enough. We are getting traces of civilization way up ahead, as you can tell. So, that's cool. I do wish I was able to see the horizon, but again, technically speaking, it's almost 10 p.m. here, which means it's 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, almost 3 a.m. over in the UK, and I'm pretty sure, unless it was like, say, summertime, you probably wouldn't be seeing the sun this early, at least not right now. So, we'll take it one step at a time. Again, I'm using DLSS and I'm using the quality setting along with the NVIDIA Frame Gen mod. So I don't want to mess around with the settings too much right now because again, we've been flying for a while. I don't want the computer to freak out about memory management. And I think DLSS is probably going to work better for us than some of the other options. In theory, I could set this back to TAA and we probably wouldn't know much more of a difference anyway, but that's fine. Ooh, we're turning. Hello. We're going direct to Delta Charlie Sierra. And what is that waypoint? It is Dean Cross. Dean Cross. This area kind of looks familiar, but I'm probably getting my areas mixed up. I feel like I haven't been around here much. I might have flown around Liverpool once or twice years ago in the sim, so I'm not worried about it. I do know we're going to be coming up on, wait, no. Glasgow is, I think it's EJKK, so that is actually Manchester. Manchester is Echo Golf Charlie Charlie. So my apologies to my British friends out there. It's a wonderful thing to be flying a long haul and to be able to look at your flight plan and see top of descent coming up in less than an hour. It's pretty cool. For the approach for today's flight, we're going to be landing flaps 25 at 157. Flaps 30 at 154, I don't feel is a big enough justification for the extra 3 knots or the three fewer knots of approach speed. So flaps 25 is going to be fine. And the approach is already set, and we should be able to just switch straight into ILS approach. And Provided we don't mess it up, we should be okay. Can I lower the intensity of those displays? I used to think I could, so I don't know why I can't now. It might be because I'm not using the heavy division. Oh, of course not. That's probably why. Because I was not flipping the correct toggle. Okay, now we're really chill. So, cool. Let's take a look outside. I like flying with the logo light on, but at 41,000 feet, pretty sure no one except the occasional passing plane is going to pay attention. Iowa Scotsman, thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate the 32-month resub. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the Digi crew, as it were. Thanks for your support. It's a little nutty, but we are fast approaching London. We're flying at about 488 knots ground speed, and we've got a roughly 10 knot crosswind, excuse me, headwind that we're going to be flying. And Dane Flats coming in with a rating party of 17. Hello, my friend. God bless you and your family. A privilege having you here. We are on arrival. We've been flying, excuse me, we took off from LAX earlier this afternoon, and we've got roughly, I want to say about an hour and a half, hour 40 minutes to go. Great to see you, my friend. Welcome aboard. It's a privilege having you here. We're flying the 787-800, and we are on approach to London Heathrow. I've got the indie-built scenery installed, and we're ready to go. Well, I gotta say, I've been putting off a long haul like this for a long time, and while it's not something that I'm going to be doing as a habit, I am going to enjoy my arrival. It's the second time I've visited Heathrow in the sim, and no, I haven't flown out of or into Heathrow on VATSIM. I have yet to do that. But I wanted to fly this and just take advantage of the opportunity to go from one Indy Builds airport to another. We left LAX, and we've been cruising ever since. But to everybody else that's just joined, welcome aboard. My name is Digi Driver. I'm a flight sim streamer. I also develop scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I am uh, also trying to develop scenery for X-Plane at some point soon, because a friend of mine has asked me for a favor, which I'm more than happy to follow through on. Actually, I've got several of those I need to follow through on, but for lack of a better phrase, I think the opportunity for me to make good on that promise to develop an X-Plane is coming due. So it's time for me to actually get involved. Let's see, where are we right now? Let's take a look. We're going to be cruising past Papa Oscar Lima very shortly. I don't know what that is. And it's a considerable distance away. It looks like Pole Hill. And Manchester is going to be another, I'd say another like 15 to 30 minutes away. It is absolutely astonishing that we are starting to zero in. Eyes on the prize, Digi. So we're flying the 787-800. We are loaded for passengers and cargo. We've still got roughly 29,000 pounds of fuel each wing for a total of 58,000 pounds. We should have enough fuel to divert to Manchester if we have to. I'm really hoping we don't have to. I've been flying for how long now? We've elapsed 8 hours and 54 minutes since I turned the clocks on, so I would prefer not to divert if at all possible. Katie T4LTU, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Digi fam. Hope you enjoy your stay. I'm hoping to have a great arrival into London Heathrow today, or tonight in that case, and we will see. Well, welcome aboard. Glad to have you. And I generally don't do flights like this that much. I will usually do significantly shorter flights if and when I do, because I usually spend time creating airports and content for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Oh, um, I wonder why. To be honest, I don't like banning people unless there's honestly no other choice. He I mean, I know like life is short, but I generally try to respect people as much as I can. And I know people have a story or they might have had a really bad day. And even if somebody tells me off, what can I do? I don't know what's going on in anyone's life. I try to give them as much room to breathe as possible. Now, if you're generally going to be an omega-sized troll and cause nothing but trouble on stream, then that possibility can happen. But I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Welcome aboard. Now, how far away are we actually? We are literally we're less than 80 nautical miles. Well, we're about 80 nautical miles from top drop. So let me make sure that we're clear here. Approach speed and flaps are going to be flaps 25, speed 157. We have plenty of fuel left. We are holding Mach 0.87. And current altitude is 410. I should be able to set my altitude for descent, at least for the initial approach. So let me go ahead and set it to flight level 200, and I should not begin a descent unless I actually do something dumb like clicking the button for the altitude knob, which is something I don't want to do, not by any means. And the altitude is set. I could do VNAV at this point and let the plane take itself down, but I'm not 100% sure it'll do it. Because if I do VNAV and I'm not taking the plane's suggestions for descent and stuff like that, it could pitch the nose down way steeper than I want it to. Oh, well, that's good. I mean, you've got a Lithuanian airfield and you can see your house. That's good. Sounds like two for two. Congrats. All right. We're still moving along pretty good for ground speed. And we've got roughly 50 nautical miles to the next waypoint. I think I'm going to take this bird down manually, though. So we are going to be doing descent roughly 13 nautical miles from this waypoint. And then we're going to keep it manual all the way down to the airfield. So we'll see. We will absolutely see. All right. Oh my word, I see civilization. This is crazy. This is absolutely nuts. Been a while. I think I was like at 6 hours. No, it was like 5 hours flying when I flew over Greenland. Kilo Hotel Uniform Mike. Extensive private jet and oilified heliops. Hmm. Sounds very interesting. Usually, if I fly in the sim to Louisiana, it's always to New Orleans. I rarely, if ever, fly to like Baton Rouge. Oil field. Thank you. Why did I say oilified? All right, 37 nautical miles to go. Bosses for the fields. Yep. There's probably a significant number of sea platforms out there in the Gulf of Mexico that I don't even stop to think about. So yeah, at least for the cruise, you're right. Are we flying past Glasgow now? Manchester now? Oh, we gotta be. We're getting pretty close. All right, there we are. We're roughly 14 or 15 nautical miles from decision time. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is slow down. Then we're going to go ahead and kick on descent, and then we're going to increase our descent rate to match what we should be doing. Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, I would believe there are many, many helicopter flights that go from that area. I totally believe you. Ground speed is still shy of 500 knots, so roughly 2,500 feet per minute to start should do it, and we'll see. Once we get to 15 nautical miles from the waypoint, I'll start slowing down and then begin the descent. I've got some issues deploying or arming the speed brake, so I'm not going to worry about it. I am going to go ahead and go max auto brake and go full reverse when we touch down. Okay, here we go. And let's start the descent. All right, vertical track, we will go 2,500 feet per minute to start, and down we go. After flying for roughly about 8.5 hours, we are now beginning our descent into London. So, welcome. Let me tweak the descent rate a little bit. I don't want to go right up against the red tape. It would be nice not to overspeed on descent. It would be nice. To The good news is I don't think we will, because as we keep descending, the threshold is going to grow. I understand. I understand. At least, excuse me, I don't understand, but I get it. It's a bit of a pity that you can't tip, but I don't know. I guess it's just the way things are. Also, at the same time, it would be very difficult for you to tip baggage handlers normally because it's like the difference between a secure and non-secure environment. But again, there's so much that I don't understand about aviation even now. Exactly, a security issue. So, definitely an interesting thing. Speaking of interesting, let's take a look at the weather. All right, fresh data. The altimeter is still QNH 1019er. There we go. Now I can switch to it. Yep, winds are 330 at 2, which means we will be landing westbound. More secure on VATSIM. Yeah, and so I hear VATSIM's getting some new things. Oh, then we won't talk about that. Let me see. Conditions are scattered at 2000 and broken at 700. We're using ILS, so it's going to be my discretion for landing. It's going to be a little crazy. Okay, the green banana shows me that we're going to make our altitude just at Tobit, so Lord willing, we should be fine. And then at Sopit, it's going to be flight level 150. Descent rate's not that bad. I'm happy. And progress, what are we looking like? We're going to be getting there at 0344 Zulu. So literally a little over a half an hour from now, which is honestly kind of cool. I thought it was going to take longer than that, so I'm happy. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by tonight. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your evening. And yeah, like I said, I generally do scenery development. So if you're ever curious about, even doing something generic or simple to enhance your airport or any other airport you want to fly to in the sim, feel free to tune back. Have a great night. Okay, we are leaving flight level 270 shortly, which means we're going to be going back to indicated airspeed like we are now. And I think we're going to decelerate to roughly 290 knots. Oh, God bless you, little one. One of my pets sneezed. Gotcha. Okay, we're not that far away from Tobit, and then after Sopit, we're gonna have to start slowing down. We need to slow down to 220 knots at Westcott. Do we have Westcott? We do. Whiskey Charlie Oscar. There's the VOR. So that means I need to start slowing down or indicate what my airspeed's going to be. Between Sopit and the Bovingdon VOR, we're going to need to decelerate. Sorry. No, we actually need to be 220 by Westcott, so I only have like 8 nautical miles to do that. But we have roughly 25 nautical miles to go down 8,000 feet. So, not worried about it. I am going to adjust my descent rate slightly so that we cross Tobit at flight level 200 and not too far ahead of it, which also means we should be able to scrub off more speed more easily. I want to descend more slowly than 1,800 feet per minute though. That's fine. The green banana is pretty much right. It was right on top of the waypoint, but that's a lot closer than it was before, so I'm happy. Yeah, I tried making stuff with FSX before for scenery development. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. With MSFS, it's a lot easier. It just took me time to learn the system. It's probably even easier with X-Plane, but I haven't touched it in a while. It's been a while. All right, so again, flight level 150 after we get to Tobit. Ground speed is 400 knots. Let's continue. Okay, now, next question. Do we have inclement weather? It doesn't look like it. Maybe some splashes of rain, but doesn't look like we're going to have an issue. Maybe some renegade clouds, but that's about it. Okay, we're flight level 200. We just arrived at Tobit. Let's set up for flight level 150. And we are turning. Let's keep up that descent rate. And that's pretty good. 1,600 feet per minute is actually not bad. It's a question. I will tell you that after a long time, I finally got rid of X-Plane 11. I bought X-Plane 12 years ago, but I didn't fly that much. I have on mind to start flying X-Plane 12 more, but I think X-Plane 11 just kind of kept me from doing that, so I decided to get rid of it, and I'm going to try to do more things with X-Plane 12 soon. But I think X-Plane 12 I'm going to keep for things that are way more involving like general aviation, since I feel like the level of detail or the level of focus in that sim is way more towards general aviation aircraft. I do have some airliners there too, but I'm gonna just try to enjoy that more for GA. Okay, now I'm gonna keep standard pressure until I get to 7,000 or flight level 70. So I'm not gonna pay attention to that yet. If I was in the States and I went below 18,000, I would go back to local pressure. So, not yet. Wait, no, ATCing is different, but we know that. Okay, looks like we're going to be 1,000 to go pretty shortly, and then we'll be at flight level 150. Then we need to start slowing down. So what do we do here? Westcott, 220 knots. Do I care about slowing down that much? I don't know. Right, right, Princess Juliana. Okay, so we are on our way. We're almost to Sobbit. All right, all right. That may not be much of a secret at this point, but there you go. 15,000 feet, and we're going to hang out at 15,000 for a little while. First thing we need to do is to start slowing down. So we're going to hit 220 first. And then we need to get down to flight level 70. And now that's set. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine everybody's got their reasons for certain kinds of ATC. That's perfectly fine. Okay, I think we're going to make speed restriction. Well, there certainly is a lot of activity on the ground. I'll definitely give you that. Okay, excellent. Let's go ahead and begin a descent. 500 feet per minute should be fine for now. Maybe even 1,000. $1,600 should probably get me there. Oh, it won't? Okay, I guess I gotta keep descending. I tell you what, I think I'm gonna start deploying flaps, so give me flaps 1, please. Not that far away now. So we need to be at 7,000, but we're not gonna be there in time? No, we can do better than that. Flaps 5, please. A teensy bit more. And a little bit more. Well, one way we can get the aerodynamic drag to work for us is to lower the gear. So I will lower the landing gear, which will give us greater drag and aerodynamic resistance, which makes me happy. It also means we don't have to descend as steep. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you've got kind of a similar headspace thing going on in real life, you're probably not going to be inclined to go home and do more of what you do for work if you want to rest your brain. So I get it. Okay, we're below 10,000 feet. Let's get those lights on. Okay, coming in. Outside temperature, where's that? +1. Okay, we're okay. Oh, okay, okay. To each their own. If Dane told you to avoid IVAO, then there's probably a reason why. So, all right, now we get serious. So, we are on final approach, and we need to make sure we are prepped for arrival. Let's get down to maybe 210 knots. Actually, you know what? 180 is even better. Oh, no, no, not you. I'm saying Dane. If Dane said to not go to IVAO, there may be a reason why. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna trust his judgment. Okay, we've got I think like 10 or so miles before we actually turn. Oh, well then, that's an A to B conversation, Dane. I'm gonna see myself out. Love your soul, my friend. Glad to have you here. We are at 7,000 feet. Where do we need to be for the approach? We need to be at 2,500 feet, so I need to hustle. We'll take it to 1,600 feet per minute, and we will make sure that we are good to go here. Well, if I can borrow from Dane for a little bit, I appreciate the company, and we do this for the company. Although Dane says it a lot better than I do. It's unfortunate that some things have changed. It is. All right, so I don't have to descend that quickly. I can be 2,500 feet by the time we get turned around for final approach. And we're going to be at, I think, 180. We're actually just below it already. But we want to be a little bit slower. Not too much slower. I think 170 is going to be a good approach speed until we actually get to line up with the runway. And we're flaps 15. like to ride the limits a little bit, because I don't want to go too slow, but I don't want to go too fast either. We are auto brake max for our landing at Heathrow. We we don't have to be though. We can probably get away with auto brake 3 even without throwing the speed brakes. So I'm not worried about that. Our approach speed is going to be 157 at flap 25. So that's a ref speed. So ref plus 5 is going to be roughly 157 knots. And there's not much else to it. Here we are. We're coming in. Would we call this a London fog, chat? Because it's looking kind of low vis out there. Well, let's get a little bit of lighting. We should be good. $2,500, we are flaps 15. I think one more toggle and we'll be set for flaps for approach. I'll slow down to 157 knots for the approach once we get lined up. All right, been flying for about 9.5 hours at this point. Crazy. And Lord willing, we'll make the landing. If we don't, it's been fun. Let's get it done, chat. Still got roughly 54,000 pounds of fuel in case we have to divert. But I certainly don't want to do any go-arounds or diversions tonight, so we'll see. Winds are now squarely in our favor for a westerly arrival. Let's go ahead and slow down to final approach speed now. And flaps 20 and flaps 25. Approach mode armed. Okay, so auto throttle is set to approach speed. Approach mode is armed. Missed approach altitude is going to be 1,580 for the climb out. So we'll say roughly 1,600. That's the missed approach altitude set. And current heading is 270. Let's sync that with the current heading and We're good. Flight attendant, seat for landing. Gear is down. Taxi lights are on. Trying to light this place up, baby. $2,000 feet. We'll be going to Terminal 3 when we land. All right, you wonderful UK citizens, you are almost home. 1,000. Scene. Approach speed is set. So, cabin crew advised. Speed brakes, not armed, not a factor. Auto brakes are set, gear is down. Flaps are 25 green. Landing checklist complete. $500 by aircraft. With a 787, one of the biggest things you do for yourself is you do not shut off the auto throttles until you get down to the ground. Continue. Okay, there we go. Cool. There we go. We're down. Auto brake 3. Auto brake disarm. Welcome down, everybody. Welcome to London Heathrow. Looks like our elapsed time reset. That's cool. So, roughly, you know what? Let's keep going. Still going too fast. Roughly 10 something hours. No, like 9 hours, 35 minutes, which is cool. Let's go ahead and retract flaps. Auto brake off and speed brake off. MSEP, good morning, my friend, and welcome aboard. Glad to have you. We have just arrived at AnyBuild's London Heathrow scenery. I'm taxiing back to Terminal 3 to wrap this flight up. And my apologies for the stuttering. I did actually clear my rolling cache, but sometimes things. All right. So, welcome down, everybody. It is a beautiful thing to be on the ground. We'll turn the turn-offs off and the nose light off. Strobe light can come off, and I'll get the APU started. So, I can turn on the next right in onto Echo, left on Bravo, right on Foxtrot. And just like that, we made it. Very happy. It's amazing. I don't think the sun's going to come up just yet. Probably not for a little while. All right, quick turn here. And one more turn here. I think the terminal after this one should be big enough. MSEP, I'm doing okay. By the way, MSEP, Mrs. Digi is now through her first day post-op and not doing the best, so I'm going to wrap up this flight and go ahead and make sure I take care of her tonight. But we just wrapped up a flight from LAX to Heathrow. It's kind of absolutely amazing. All right, give me a bit. Let me just make sure we are parked. That's pretty good. Maybe a bit too good, but I'll be quite happy with that. Let's go ahead and turn the lights off. Those gonna come off sooner. That's fine. And get the dome light on. APU should be running by now. It is. Let's go ahead and shut off. All right, we are on standby. Let's go ahead and get dome lights up. And get the external power connected. Let's make sure we got it. Power and jetway. And that should be it. All right. So external power is connected. We can turn the APU off. And I can shut the APU gens off. Seatbelt signs off. And that's about it, chat. About 9 hours and 45 minutes later, and we are on the ground at Heathrow. It's unbelievable. I'm really happy that we made it. Let's go survey the damage. Okay. Actually, we did I want to say we did an okay job. Graphical anomalies notwithstanding. But yeah, this is the Kuro 788. This is a 787-800. I like flying the 788. It's like the sports sedan of these aircraft. You can fly the 789 from Horizon, and you can also fly the default 78X, but the 8 will always be one of my personal favorites. Yeah, we're down on the ground, and I forgot to turn off the strobe light? Let's turn it off. Oh, no, the beacon. There we go. Wing light can come off, nav light can come off, and logo light can stay on since I am plugged into ground power. Yeah, wow. Folks, thanks for coming on in. Dane, thank you so much for the raid. Really appreciate you, my friend. And we're in. Welcome to London, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. It's been a privilege flying for you guys. It's been an absolute pleasure flying into London, and I'm very happy that I did this long haul. I don't know when the next long haul is going to be for me. I don't know if it's going to be this week, but from here, I'm going to fly from London Heathrow to Abu Dhabi at some point. I mean, it might be, on a very chill Friday afternoon this week if I do it, but I'm also, not terribly worried if it takes longer. I know I've got the scenery for it now, and I'm grateful to have you guys along. So, from the offices of Speedbird 197 Heavy at London Heathrow, I'm going to go ahead and bid you guys a great night, and I will see you around on the Twitchverse. Much love to everybody, and like I always like to say, if you want true peace, you want the Prince of Peace, and that is the one and only, the Word of God, Jesus Christ. Thank you so much, my friends. Thanks for the support. I'm going to go take care of Mrs. DG, make sure she's all taken care of tonight, and I will see you guys around. Much love to you. God bless you, and take care.